Can I get some help here? Yeah, yeah. Whew. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That looks great. I love that color. What? Why am I getting so fabulous? Please don't ask me questions like that. Thank you. Anyways, next. Oh my goodness. So, anyways, today I have a great show, and I'm talking here with George C. Romero. Yeah, you heard, of course, you've heard it. Yeah, me. I know, right? Who would have thought? I don't know. I'll, I, yeah, I am. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm having that feeling again in my. Yes, my hands are like clammied up and stuff, but that makes sense because yeah, I've spoken to him before. He's really, really down to earth, but whoo, I just don't want to mess anything up, and I don't want to scare him off and be like, "Ooh, weirdo freak she is," but no, I don't really don't think he's gonna think that, because he's a really down to earth type of fella. But I just had to let somebody know this. I know it's not in person. You know what I mean? And this is a podcast with them. But what I still want to just feel good and look great for myself at least. Goodness gracious, I can't believe I shouldn't even let her choose any of the colors. Okay, just for even asking that. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, yeah, the Indie Brigade. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so stoked to be talking to him about that because, I mean, everybody needs to really listen in. Uh, it's an amazing community, and that I have been brought in to be a part of for creatives of all types. hmm Yeah, all across media. So it's like I feel like I have stumbled upon the best family that I could have right now because I create. Who else better to bring alive my creativity with? Indie Brigade. Hello. What was that? Oh, I feel like I'm telling you too much. So how do you think I should intro this? Should I just be like, "What's up, George?" Or should I just "So hey, George, welcome and tell us more." Or this one, "George, my boy, my main man, how's it been going?" You don't think so? Well, personally, we asked you anyway. That's the crazy part about this whole conversation. Thank you. Okay. I'm not really a jerk, guys. I just, sometimes you just gotta play the part, so they don't mess with me. They know who's the boss around here. Anyways, George C. Romero is coming here, and he's gonna be on Voice to Be Reckoned with, with who? Your host, Brandy Joy. Yes, yes, yes. So don't go too far because he's in the building. Let's give him a listening ear and let's have fun. Let's get it. George stopped by to show us the Indie Brigade and his excitement on where it will go and watching it grow.
Okay, hey everybody, I'm here today with George C. Romero. He's done plenty of movies, but matter of fact, George, are you there?
I am here, and thank you for having me on here tonight, Brandy.
It's my pleasure, not just because, I love horror, okay? So that's part of it, but not also too because I think you're pretty awesome, and I love what you represent, and I would love for you to let my listeners know who you are and what you do.
Sure, absolutely. My name's George C. Romero. I do come from a long line of George Romeros. My father was George A., and he did some really cool stuff in the movie business, including made some really important films like Night of the Living Dead, and ultimately created a legacy that basically everything I'm doing at this point in my life and my career is working toward making sure that we carry this name forward into some really great things for the independent, keeping the punk rock spirit of the independent movie scene alive in 2019. And we're doing that through things like the Indie Brigade podcast, which you can find through Romero Pictures. And the Indie Brigade podcast is a great time where we actually, we're working toward doing a weekly episode. Right now, we're doing every other week generally. But what happens is we alternate episodes. So every other episode, we talk to people in sort of an interview setting. And then every other episode, we really focus on doing a Q&A. And what we do is we bring in some real seasoned pros, some people who came up in the indie scene, and we make all of us available to give very straightforward answers to some young up-and-coming filmmakers with regard to anything that they want to talk about when it comes to their projects. So it's very cool. I'm sorry, it's freezing here in Kentucky, so if I sound cold, it's because I am.
Quite all right.
But yeah, so and we're trying to build it into this community. And what's happening is it's catching on. It's pretty cool. We've got some phenomenal founding members like yourself who are creatives, who are interested in just creating and doing it outside the system and doing it almost in spite of being told they can't. It's kind of like my mom used to do. If she ever wanted me to learn to do something, all she had to do was tell me she didn't think I could do it. Right? Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with creatives. It's the same thing with filmmakers and musicians and writers and poets and all of the, everybody. So the Indie Brigade is open to, creators of all types across all media. And, our focus, because of my personal background and experience, is in the filmmaking world. But we've got a lot of efforts that revolve around the music industry as well in the indie world. And we're trying to basically become a resource for independent young artists to find a place to collaborate. So we've already hooked up some bands with some filmmakers to get their music in movies. We've hooked up, writers with other writers. It's become a phenomenal experience for me personally, and it's really cool to watch it catch on and to watch everybody really embrace the spirit of the Indie Brigade.
Yeah, for sure, George. That's pretty freaking cool. I love hearing about it because, when I was reading more about it, and it just it really grasped me because for myself, I was thinking why do I have to stay in the box, when I started this, the podcasting and stuff, because I've always been very creative, a little bit different. I always feel like pushing, or just doing what fits for me, as long as I'm not hurting anybody, breaking any laws.
That's right.
But why can't I just be me? And why do I have to be, when I first started, it was kind of oh, I didn't go through, because I'm not big or anything like that, or, I did this myself, and I just kept working at it and working at it and working at it. And so it made me even more proud. And I was I see where it goes.
I shared with George how my thinking was set in the beginning of my venture in media.
So when I began my podcast, I kind of, thought that I had to be, under a certain, standard. I didn't think it was going to go too far at first because I thought I had to, I didn't think it was real. I had to work, go through somebody else or this or that, and people didn't believe in me.
George shared a very interesting view of most creators.
Right. Well, and it's funny because you're talking about having those supporters, most creatives, and this is true across everybody, and maybe this will make you feel better about things if you don't already know this. I'm pretty sure you do. Most creatives don't have the support of the people that they feel they're supposed to have the support from. And a lot of times we start out in something and we say, well, I guarantee you this person and that person are at least going to support what I'm trying to do. And, it turns out that they're the ones who don't. You know, and so what happens is becoming an artist of any kind leads to a lonely existence for so many, an existence where people feel like they can be in a room full of 1,000 people and feel totally alone, right?
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking, and we've all been there. Mm-hmm. And you know, we don't have to be there. You know, I have a whole theory about chasing the art, is what I call it. Because it is, when you're a certain level of creator or a certain type of creator, the need to create is almost like an addiction, right? Worse than any addiction in this country. Worse than anything else, because you become addicted to not only needing to create, but you become addicted to your process to create, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, so many times people who do this stuff, they do it out of needing an outlet, right? They create something, they write something, they photograph something or draw something out of a need to get something out that's inside. And a lot of times that has to do with dealing with something negative, you know, and then we've got these people who, you know, you think are supposed to support you, but don't. And then you start to feel the isolation of the creation and the stuff you're making. And then what ultimately happens is you start showing the stuff you're making to people, and they're bagging on you, and they're saying, "Well, it sucks. Why are you doing this? You need a real job." That kind of shit, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you make something, and you get driven to this dark place, and then you make something, or you create something, or you write something, and you show it to the world, and people love it. And all of a sudden you're going, "Oh shit, what did I do?" Now I've got to continue creating.
Yeah.
But now what happens, right? Now you ride that high, and you go and you create something else, and everybody hates it. So now so many creatives out there, Brandy, convince themselves that they've got to then go find that darkness again. They've got to find that isolation. They've got to find that negative space that they created from, right? So then what happens is people create, but in order to create, they have to chase this darkness. They have to chase this sadness, and they have to chase this isolation. And it's because we live in a world where people who do what we do, there was a stigma about it for a long time. It was considered a hobby, and now it's no longer a hobby for so many people. It's a career and a way of life.
Right.
And, you know, and it's something that what happens is now you get these people, and now they're creating from the dark, and so now the next thing they want to make, they've got to find more darkness. And now you've got more people going darker and darker into themselves and more inward. We've all been through it. This is just the way I figured out to kind of process what it is. And it's a way that I figured out to help a lot of creators and a lot of artists who might not be able to step back and recognize that that's exactly what they're doing. So here's what happens then when you do sit back and recognize that you've done everything you've done without the support of anybody, and you've done it from these horribly dark places. Part of you has to become proud of what you've done. And at that point, you have to stop creating from the darkness, and you have to find a light so you can create from that light. But that light has to come from you, because nobody else is going to give it to you. So that's what Beauty Brigade is about. Beauty Brigade is about a community for people who have gone through that, who are going through that, you know, to find a place where people aren't going to bag on them, find a place where they're not going to get bullied for having to be creative, find a place where they can, you know, commiserate with like-minded people, collaborate, and create.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's it.
To me,
that's
it's like a lifestyle.
Yeah, it really is, you know?
For sure. And to me, I also see it as, you know, it's positive, you know, and it's funny because you get people that'll say, okay, oh, what are you doing with, you know, you're being negative, you don't do anything with your life, or you could be actually doing something negative, right? Your you know, your side hobbies aren't very healthy, you know, but then you get something that it's not hurting anybody. It's constructive, and it's what you love, it's your talent. And then it's like, oh my God, are you done? You know what I mean? It's like, but it could be so worse off. I'd rather someone, or like my son or anyone, or a young person, to be, you know what I mean, using their creative, you know, ways and exercising those, versus out here in the streets doing drugs and stealing and robbing and, you know, just doing much of nothing. So it's kind of like, come on, you know, you got to promote the positive where people do positive things, because sometimes it doesn't look out that way and then they end up, you know.
Listening to George speak about his crafts and how he has shared these things with his son, setting for lifetime values and moments that is priceless.
Yeah, showing off and doing negative things.
I know. Listen, I taught our boy how to make things out of leather a few years ago, you know, bracelets, necklaces, that kind of stuff, wallets.
Cool.
And, you know, he's got like all the video game systems that you could want when you're a 15-year-old boy, but he doesn't play them. You know, if he has downtime, he'd rather go out in the shop and design a piece of jewelry, or, you know, design a bracelet or design some sort of something and make it out of leather. And he takes pride in things like his hand, you know, he hand stitches all the leather, you know, all the thread and everything. He hand stitches it all. It takes him hours. But he loves it, and he would rather do that than go play a video game every day of the week, because there's a satisfaction that comes with him creating something tangible.
Right.
And it's really cool. It's really cool. And it's given him something that you don't see in a lot of kids these days. He walks with his head high and his back straight. You know what I mean? I mean that physically and metaphorically. You know, the Buddha said, walk with your back straight. He walks with his back straight, but he also walks tall and proud. And, you know, it's really cool to see, because we live in a world where so many kids his age don't. They walk with their head in their phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he has no interest in that stuff other than needing to learn it and understand it for, you know, to exist in the world moving forward.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing to watch, you know. It really is. Cool. It's amazing.
That's really cool too. But also too, I mean, you made a point that you taught him those things and instilled those values in him, and you know, so it's like when as parents we have to like sit back and, you know, take, you know, ownership of, you know, you know, what we've created, you know, when we like, get off your phone and this and that, and we have to like go back to those days where you got to take the phone, or when we didn't even have them, and sit down and talk, and, you know, and this, you know, because we get caught up in ours too. So, you know, I take ownership of, you know, of definitely with my son and his phone issues that I have to now like jump in there on. So, but, you know, as I told him this, I said, I do take responsibility for not, you know, jump in this as soon as I, you know, saw it. But now that I am, you know, it's going to be some time. It's going to be some recovery time. But I commend what you did with your son. That's awesome.
You broke up there. What was the last thing you said?
Oh, I said I commend what you do with your son. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you very much. It's, you know, it's not something I'm talking about it because of the connection you and I have and the conversations we've had, you know, but it's not something I go, you know, yell from the top of the mountains. I'm so unbelievably proud of him, but it's also something I don't want to give away my secret.
I'll just ask you after the show.
So, but no, I'm just so lucky with him. And, you know, I think it's because, look, all that I did when we sat down and I took the time to understand and learn his brain and what makes him tick and what he enjoys. And you know, thankfully, I've dedicated my entire life to this being a creative, right? I mean, from the time I was younger than him, I've dedicated my entire life to learning how to be a creative in a world that doesn't really embrace them the way that it used to. And I mean, you know, the greats, the people who gave their lives and their souls to their creativity. We don't live in a world where people like that are embraced anymore, and it's tricky, and they're choppy waters to navigate.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry,
Oh, no worries, no worries.
I think I'm getting a cold. I apologize.
It's all right. You're out there in that cold, cold. I think I complain about, lately, well, I love the cold, first of all.
Yeah,
out
me
here
too.
in San Diego, it doesn't really, lately it's been cold and I've been loving it. But, yeah, we don't really get it out here. So I love it. I wish I did more.
Yeah, I lived out
Does
in LA
it snow?
for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so you definitely know that.
Yeah, and but man, I'm telling you, I love it. It gets down to like 30 degrees. Even if it was like last year, I was building a shed, and and I started, and it was like the last day of decent weather is when I started it, and I ended up building the rest of it out in like 0-degree weather, and I loved every second of it.
Wow. See,
fun.
I'm not a weirdo.
No, and my son was out there. Our boy was out there the entire time in the cold with me, swinging a hammer. At 14, he was 14. He was 14 when we did that.
Wow.
14-year-old out there in 0-degree weather, swinging a hammer and having the best time of his life. I mean, it was great because it was something we did together.
Getting to know people, and not like just with your Facebook and all that stuff, but like actually meeting people and sharing and learning things about one another just because you want to, not because anything to gain or just, meaningless conversation, but just making connections, lifelong connections.
Awesome. You know what I mean? Like, so go look at my Facebook page, but have a real
that'll tell you something, right?
Yeah, but I mean, have a real conversation with me because, you have no idea, so,
right.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's just a lame way too. Like, I don't know why it's that. Like me, I'd rather, you know what I mean? Like, even if I read the page, it would make me want to talk to you even more. So I'd be like, oh, I have questions, like so, or I might see something that we have in common. So just to say I go read your page, that's so impersonal. It's kind of saying like, I don't really want to talk to you. I don't want to get to know you. I just read that. And so what's the point of even reading it then if you don't want to talk? Might as well not even go read it.
That's right. That's right. You may as well just go be a lonely person. or you could open up and have a conversation with me and maybe become friends and have random conversations at random times about all kinds of cool things.
Right.
And
like find out that you're not stressing about something. Yeah, right?
Yeah, we can talk about Hot Wheels if you want. We can talk about, we can talk about clocks. We can talk about
sharks.
bookshelves.
I love sharks. Yeah, I just found something too.
We can talk about sharks half the day if you want to talk about sharks. I like that. You know what
Silicon,
I mean?
the whale from SeaWorld.
Yeah, and guess what? I bet you and me, we could talk about sharks for a whole day and probably never touch on something that's going to make one of us pissed off at the other one. You know what I mean? It's going to basically be like, hey, guess what? We both know a lot about sharks, and I think you're really, really cool because of that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, that's the world we need to live in, a world where people just want to know each other for the people that we are, because you said it earlier, we're all humans. There's a reason it's called the human it's called the human condition, It's not, we're a disease, all of us. Yeah. we are a condition on this planet.
So true.
So
it's so true. Yeah, I'm definitely. I totally vibe with you, George. Because I'm all about that. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know. We've gotten along on some really great levels since we met. I really enjoy the conversations you and I have.
Me too. And it's just so awesome to me because I made like a friend, like, and that feels good. You know what I mean? And you're like way across, we're in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And it's like now I have like a friend, and that's, I think that is so much worth and value to it versus just like not getting to know someone, or I'll read your page.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have a friend in you, and I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about seeing how far this friendship goes, and I think that's really cool. There's always things to discover about each other moving forward when you find new friends, and it's really,
sure.
it's really cool to know you.
Thanks. No, at all.
You know, like when I was a kid, man, you'd get home from school and drop your bag in the front door and be like, okay, bye, see you later. And your parents would be like, you know, okay, get home in time for dinner. It's at 6:15. If you're here at 6:16, you're not going out after school for the rest of the week. You know, and guess what? If you were there at 6:16, you didn't get dinner and you didn't go out the rest of the week. It wasn't an empty threat. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, it was a different time. You know, and you obviously can't do that anymore. Like, kids don't even walk the bus stops anymore. You know, the bus drops the kids off all up and down the street. My bus stop was like, you know, quarter mile, half a mile away. You know, and everybody would walk there in the morning, and everybody would meet there in the morning, and we'd all go to school together. And our parents were nowhere to be seen. And we'd get off the bus and we'd walk, and we'd walk home, you know, and then we'd have to entertain ourselves, you know, and that's also where a lot of creativity and a lot of artistry comes from, being in a situation where you're left with no choice but to entertain yourself. And, you know, and so then that's when you start making and creating and drawing or writing or whatever, you know. That stuff's all gone. Those days are gone.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Now
everybody has a need to be around. You have to be with people. You got to be online. You can't be alone. Like, I love being alone.
Me too.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Yes.
I mean, it's beautiful. Like some time alone together, right? Or something like that. It's a rarity, but that means that it's a rarity that I cherish. You know, so that when it does happen, like when my wife goes to work and our boy goes to bed, like I have a few hours where I just make. I create anything. I don't care what it is. I don't even care. A lot of times, you know, I'll go into the kitchen at midnight and cook something just so I can figure out how to make it look pretty on a plate. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I've created something.
Right.
And it can be anything. It can literally be anything, and it doesn't take that much time, and it doesn't take that much effort. It just takes a desire to do it and a drive to do it a little bit. That's all that it takes. And you know, and we just, man, people sleep with their phones next to their heads. They fall asleep on their phone. They wake up. What's the first thing they do? They pick up their phone.
Pick up phone, yeah.
Right. By the time you meet up in the kitchen with the family, everybody's knee deep in their Facebook feeds, you know, and everybody sits around and slurps back some cereal and some coffee without talking, and then walks out the door without barely even looking at each other. But they're all commenting on each other's shit, you know. And so they're like, that's the
I don't know that feeling. Look, you know, single mom, and it's just me and my son. But I know from his part, I'm like, can you please like put the phone away while you're walking out the door to the car? Like, it's not that serious, you know. But for me, I like I trip out when they call me and I don't have the phone right away, and they're like, well, what why you didn't hear me call? I'm like, dude, I don't just stare at my phone all day. I will leave my phone. If it was on the bed, then that's where I left it. I didn't even think twice about it until it rang. I was like, oh, my phone is in there. But I'm not like, don't take it unless I'm expecting. You know what I mean? I know I have to. You know. Other than that, I don't just be on my phone. Put it like this, George. I'm on electronics a lot, right? But let me tell you about me. If when I'm on my phone, I don't be talking to nobody or on Instagram or Facebook or any of that. I'm creating something. I'm doing stuff for my podcast. I'm an app person too. I like to mess around with apps and see what they do. Possibly like create things like right before I was, you know, got in touch with you. That's what I've been doing. I'm messing around with some apps and stuff, and you know, that's how I ended up, I think, started podcasting, because I was just on here messing around with some stuff, and, you know, and I was like, ooh, I'd like to say. Yeah. I mean, that'd be good, you know, because I like to write. You know, I write a lot. So it's like now I can, like, say it in words.
Yeah.
I get real creative. So that's what I do all the time. So I am, like, on electronics, and they're always all did because I've went through that one and went through that one. But yeah, that's what I'm doing when I'm on electronics. And I told my son too. I was like, I don't be doing nothing. Like I don't know what you've been doing this time on the phone. I said, but I put mine to good use. I'm like learning something all the time, or just doing something creative, or just something. I like to be entertained, but like intellectually, and like you said, like we're creatives and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. You know, look, I use computers and phones all day long, but there are certain things and times in my life when, you know, the people who know me and the people who are my friends, they know that when George goes into the wood shop, right, like you're not going to hear from George for maybe 6 or 7 hours. You know what I mean? And you know, and George is going to disappear because George's estate needs to go and use some heavy equipment to make something cool. And awesome. You know, there's satisfaction that comes with that, and there's an inner peace that comes with it. And there's a lot of, you know, the other thing is that it's important to me, and why I do a lot of the stuff I do, especially things like woodworking and stuff like that, is that, you know, I can disconnect from the computers. I can disconnect from the technology. I can use big tools, or I can use hand tools, or any of that stuff, and I can go out there and I can take something that's in my mind, and I can take a board and I can make something that's in my mind. And in the process of doing that, no matter what is bothering me in my life, no matter what kind of day I've had, no matter what is wrong about anything, within the first 15 minutes, my mind starts going over it, but not in that crazy way that makes you go nuts, you know?
Yeah,
like if you're just sitting there staring at the wall, like if you had a bad day and you're just sitting there staring at the wall, you just play it over and over and over and over in your head. But, you know, when I go out there and do something, it might mill around in there, but it does it from a different perspective. And anything that might be causing me turmoil in my spirit for the day, I find the peace to get through it and to process it and to figure it out.
Yeah.
And usually whenever I come out of the wood shop, anything that's been wrong or bothering me, I have a way to deal with it and a way to look at it that's very calm and collected and peaceful. And, you know, I find in my growing years that I need more peace in my heart. You know, that's what's important is having a peaceful heart. If you have a peaceful heart and a happy heart, then everything else will just fall in line one way or another. It really, really will. And I've seen it myself.
Amen to that.
It's crazy, you know, but like we put ourselves through so much shit. And
yeah, like you said, it's perspective. It's all perspective, how we look at it. Because it can be the same exact stuff, like you said, the same stuff you went in there with, but you came out and it never went away. It's that same problem, whatever, was still there, but your perspective was different, you know?
Yeah.
And so that just shows how much we build our own stuff up, you know, and make our own self sick.
Yeah, it really does. Because at the end of the day, like you said, the problems ain't going to go away just because you go away for a few hours. But when you come back, you're going to look at them and you're going to say, hey, you know what? I think I can deal with you now because, you know what? I went and did something else and my world didn't end and I didn't die and I'm still here and you're still here. Right. My problem is still here. So let's just get through it together and figure it out, whatever that problem is. And, you know, I'm telling you, the key to everything is finding a peaceful and a happy heart and keeping your spirit cup full. To keep your spirit cup full, people will come and they'll drain it, but you got to find something. You got to find something to refill it, you know, whatever that is. And for a lot of us, that's creating and that's making art of any kind. And that's where you can't worry about what people think. You just got to make. You just got to do. You just got to create. And, you know, and when you realize the peaceful heart that can come from what you do, that's when you start creating from a light as opposed to creating from a darkness, you know. And, you know, and that's when hopefully, you know, you change your perspective on life and you find a sense of community and you find a sense of satisfaction and peace in what you're creating and it lets you walk with a light heart, you know.
Yeah. I like that for sure. I wish more people, you know, will or can or thought that way. But you know, I mean, I guess I'm not. For you, you were always that way. So, but you found to be that way. I'm guessing, you know. So, like, there's still a chance for people to experience that. experienced that. So, you know what I mean? You know,
Absolutely.
if that makes sense.
It's never too late. It's never too late
Yeah.
to find your inner peace. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it's a lifelong journey. And by the way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I wasn't always like this. I used to be a mess.
Yeah.
I used to be an absolute, you know, ridiculous mess of a person. And I'm okay with that, because being that mess turned me into the person
who you are now.
And I'm proud of who I've become, you know, so that's about it.
That's awesome.
I hope you don't mind my rambling. I've just been kind of rambling.
No, it's okay. It's quite all right. Hey, this is a voice to be reckoned with. Hence, voice. You know what I mean? And you're using your voice, and we're talking, and we're saying relatable things to, you know, people have their, you know, their views of like, oh, they're going to talk about probably that and that. Yeah, we can cover that. But I mean, we're both human. We're all human. I tell people I'm human. Okay. You know, so I might, you know, especially when I mess up sometimes. I'm like, okay, I'm really sweaty right now, so just work with me. You know, I just can't help but be myself. So I don't, you know, but it's okay. I like people to hear the rawness, and just, you know, I want my listeners to always be able to relate. You know.
Yeah,
so,
I find it so much easier to just be honest and be the best truthful representation of yourself, because you don't ever have to worry about who you were on Tuesday as opposed to who you're going to be on Wednesday if you're the same person both days.
I like that. Yep. For sure. And I think too, like, with, you know, with how, you know, our conversation, and also talking about, you know, Brandy Brigade and everything, I think with that, and I personally, you know, some people have given up and said that, you know, don't really think that anything could change or anything like that. But I think it's contagious when you see people of different backgrounds, cultures, and all, you know, no matter what, you know, be able to just be relatable and just chill and enjoy and speak positive. Because when you look at the news, which I rarely watch, I try not to, because I've had, you know, stress, like I have like really like hereditary high blood pressure. Sucks, right? So, what was I saying? No. Well, yeah, and there's so much BS. It's just like, I don't really know what's going on out here in the world today. Like, I'm no disrespect, Mr. Trump, but like, I just needed a break from, you know what I mean, hearing all that stuff. And then, like, we just want to just, like, people don't want to hear all that all the time. It's like, life is just, it's okay just to, you know what I mean, just chill, hear some people just talk about shooting the shit, probably about not much at all, you know, and get away from just the malarkey of everything, because you got to already go back in it, you know what I'm saying, and listen to more of the bull crap that they're trying to feed you or throw your way or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's like, I just like to take a break from that. Like, that's why I don't touch on politics, really. In the beginning, I did do few things on Donald Trump, but nothing that he could even be really too mad about, you know? I had some questions. You know, even my son came on, and he was saying what he would say to Mr. Trump. I said, well, what would you tell him, son?
Sure.
And it was kind of cool. But yeah, I don't want people, we fed that and it's all around this all the time anyway. So let's just, you know, sometimes you need to just get away from that stuff, you know. Look, I mean, I do hit those topics, but I don't like the politics stuff. Like, well.
But I avoid those. I avoid all that stuff in the media as much as possible, because you want to talk about something that's going to drain your spirit cup faster than anything. Watch any news channel. You know what I mean? Like, and all of a sudden the world is ending.
So depressing.
And you know what I mean? And so I try to avoid as much of that as possible, and I try to get my news from as many balanced places as I can. But the reality is, there's certain things I don't talk about. I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion, and I don't talk about money unless it's how to make it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Those are simple rules, because, you know, I used to host an event in Los Angeles called The Art of Conversation, and it took off for a while, and it was really cool. And it was simple. There were simple rules. You weren't allowed to talk business with anybody for the first 90 minutes that you were there. But you had to talk to people. You weren't allowed to, if you showed up and you didn't talk to anybody, you were asked to leave. So you had to show up and you had to talk, and you had to have random conversation with random strangers about anything and everything other than business for the first 90 minutes. After getting through 90 minutes, if you and somebody there wanted to talk business, that was fine, but it was about the art of conversation. And, you know, you can talk about anything you want, but you have to converse with strangers. And, you know, there are so many things to talk about that people don't talk about anymore. Books, authors, history, you know, like everything, you know, just
so many.
Anything and everything, right? Filmmaking, painting, cooking, plants. There's literally
the list goes on, right?
there's a billion topics to discuss other than shit that's designed to piss people off. And if we just spend more time talking about beautiful things, you know, we can still believe we all still believe what we all still believe, but at the end of the day, I want to get to know the people beyond that stuff that I become friends with, and I want to talk about that stuff. That's not just them regurgitating the latest meme that they read about, you know, about whatever in politics, right? So I want to know what books you've read. I want to know what movies you like. I want to know why you like the books you like and why you like the movies you like. And, you know, those are things that you do when you get to know people. And you know, and now people are like, well, I don't have to. I can just go look at your Facebook page. Great.
You guys heard that? I'm really cool to know. You're missing out. I'm kidding. No. Yeah, you're definitely gonna have to come by again to the show and definitely keep us updated on more of, you know, the Indie Brigade and more. Could you like possibly let the listeners know a little bit more about what they could find on Romero's Pictures, your website?
Yeah, in fact, thank you. I made it real easy. You basically go to Linktree/Romero Pictures. So it's like this shortened sort of centralized location for all the links. So it's basically linktr.ee/Romero Pictures. And all the links, everything you want to know is there. If you can't remember that, it's just romeropictures.com. And everything is out of there too. All of our YouTube links, all of our Instagram, social media, it's all there. And anything you want to find out about it, all the projects and everything, it's all on romeropictures.com.
Yeah, that's how I got there because you know, I'm one of those ones. I'm like, what did he say? Wait, I need my
it's basically if you just go to your thing and type in Linktree/Romero Pictures, it'll take you to
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, I got there because I got my hat.
Yeah, I know. And it's cool as hell, and you're gonna dig it. And the wings are like this awesome navy blue against the black hat, and then you got the white letters that pop. So I imagine you should be getting it soon. So I'm excited. I'm excited you want to rep.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a whole it's a lifestyle. I'm telling you. I have you know, because I'll be 41 the next it's December already. Yikes.
Yeah, I know.
I'll be 41 this year, the day after Christmas, and so I was thinking like, okay, and then, you know, I'm really growing into my, you know, my creativity, you know, because with this podcasting, I just started so many things, you know. I mean, I want to jail, but I was like, for some reason, I had this thing in my ear going, everything Romero, everything Romero. And I was like,
hell yeah!
I was to hurry him to say that. I was like, he had to have said that to me, you know. And I was like, I don't think he said it, but okay. But it said, and I just wrote it down. I said, everything Romero.
I love it. In fact, okay. I need to get that website, Everything Romero. I need to just that just be my new link. Where do we go to find it? EverythingRomero.com.
Yeah, Indie Brigade, all that stuff. Everything Romero. So I was like, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So that's my new my style.
Hell yeah. So, but yeah, it's just romeropictures.com will get you to anything and everything you want to know about what we're doing currently and what's coming up in the future. And if you're not part of the Indie Brigade yet, Brandy, you need to you need to accept that invite and get in that community, because there's some really good, like-minded people in there when it comes to the creatives and the artists and the people who do exactly what you're trying to do, which is wake up that artist, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, I'm on my way then. I'm coming.
Yeah. All right. I'll make sure you got an invite. If you didn't get one already, I'll make sure you got one.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you, you know, in your time, and you're most definitely a family here. Voice you're pregnant with, and anytime you need to come back here to talk about anything, and I'll definitely will be constantly, you know, talking about Indie Brigade and everything it stands for, because I'm for it. I want to be a part of it. So
awesome.
Yay.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the time and sharing some time with me. It's valuable, you know, the time we have on this planet. So thank you for sharing some of it with me and having me on. And let's do it again soon. And let's get you all involved with the Brigade, get you going.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, Brandy. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Listen closely. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And then you can listen to me, Brandy Joy, with a voice to be reckoned with. I know I'm stoked about Indie Brigade, stoked about Romero Pictures. I'm just stoked all around just to see where this goes and how it grows. What I'm also very excited about is you as my listeners listening in and getting to hear this straight from the man himself, George C. Romero. If you're a creator, well, speaking to you too. So, if you need any more information, you know where to go. I left it all here, and I'll be putting it in my website. But for now, RomeroPictures.com will have everything you need. So definitely get there. Get there fast. And thanks, George, for stopping by. And you know, you're a family here now. So, my casa, su casa. Did I say that correctly? Thanks. Hey guys, a voice to be reckoned with. The next level is at the next level. Don't forget to tune in Monday through Sunday. Just about a new episode every other day, if not every day. So you can't miss. I mean, if you follow me, you're subscribed, or you just listen to me a whole lot. That means every time I have a show, you'll know. So definitely stay tuned, and definitely go to my support page and leave a message, air it on the show. If you want to join, that'll be great. Don't forget, for the holidays, looking for a host, your topic, if you'd like. Please definitely. And guys, for my support page, 99 cents, $4.99, $9.99. Support. I'll gladly appreciate it. Trust me, I'm a grateful person. And besides, if you're listening, then you know it's well worth it. So don't forget, a voice to be reckoned with Brandy Joy. That's where it's at. Peace. While every shelter pet is unique, some love a good game of fetch, and others would rather snuggle on the couch together. However, there's one thing that they all have in common. They're all pure love. Right now, millions of pets across shelters and rescues across the country are waiting to be adopted. Did you know that only 44% of dogs and 47% of cats in American homes come from animal shelters and rescue groups? The unique qualities of each and every shelter pet add up to an incredible bond between every shelter pet and parent. I love pets, and I think they're just so giving and loving, and they just show you the best, of what love is. And this is all from a little animal. They come in all sizes, big, small, furry, not furry. But like I said, love. If you're thinking about getting a pet this holiday season, make sure to visit the shelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, Maddie's Fund, and the Humane Society of United States. Please consider these animals need love, and they need you, and you need them. Thank you. And a voice to be reckoned with. We support the animals and their safety and their love. Buzz driving is drunk driving. And if you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Did you know over 10,000 people lost their lives due to impaired driving fatalities in 2017? Enjoy a night out and find yourself oversharing or taking too many selfies? If the answer is yes, then you're noticing your buzzed warning signs. Buzz warning signs include over-texting, taking too many selfies, oversharing, chugging water to sober up, turning the music down to focus, chewing gum, popping mints, eating snacks to soak up the alcohol, drinking coffee to sober up, splashing water on your face, doing jump jacks. Wow. I mean, all these things to do to sober up to drive, when hey, how about you just don't drive? When you spot your buzzed warning sign, call a cab, car, or friend when it's time to go home. Just don't drive home. A message brought to you by NHTSA, NHTSA, and the Ad Council. Thank you, and a voice to be reckoned with. We support the no drinking and driving. Senseless, careless, and just wrong. Sending a dedication and a shout out to a very dear friend of mine, Steve Joyner. Just want to say thanks, Steve, for all that you have done and that you keep doing. You're amazing. And don't forget that, if no one's ever told you that, but I'm pretty sure they have. Thank you from Brandy Joy Singleton and my show, A Voice to Be Reckoned With. The growth that it has made definitely comes from the help of you. Thanks. Also, another dedication, shout out, George C. Romero. Ever since I've met you, you have enlightened my spirit inside with my creativity, and just, the things we've spoke about has really given me so much more guidance and just hope, and just I'm excited about everything now. All and everything that I think of, that I want to think of, that I want to do, even just in life in general. Because, you have a very big perspective on, the outlook of life. And I think you're pretty amazing. And I just want to say thank you for your kindness, because you don't come by it every day. And there should be more people like that. So thanks, George. Peace.